welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make fresh buttermilk pancakes from scratch. And this is actually a recipe I found online under the website Sugar Spun Run, and it's really simple. Most people have the basic ingredients to make it. You just of course need fresh buttermilk because that's like the starring ingredient in it. So please like and subscribe my channel, and I really enjoy all the feedback you've been giving me. And to start, we're going to use some nonstick spray for the skillet. And then this recipe calls for 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which I will show you. When you're measuring, it's always good to stir your flour because it tends to compact as it sits in the canister. And you level off. You need to use a fixed measuring cup, not a graduated pitcher like I measure liquid in. So that's 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then it needs 3 tablespoons of, had to find the measuring spoons, they hid, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and then 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And we have a very curious dog. Oh my goodness. I forgot I dropped the baking powder as I was putting it away last time, so I'm now wearing some of it. So that's 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda.
So you can put baking powder and baking soda in together.
Right, it just depends on what the recipe requests. It's for leavening, which they will act with the buttermilk to make the pancakes fluffy. And this calls for 1/2 teaspoon salt, but it also calls for unsalted butter. So since I have salted butter, I'm going to omit the salt. So
do you prefer salted butter?
I generally use that as my all-purpose go-to butter. So we're going to whisk together the dry ingredients, which are again 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons sugar, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. So mix those together and set aside. And then in another mixing bowl, you're going to be whisking 2 eggs. So we'll crack those one at a time into the bowl. And just double check you didn't get any shells in there. And then add your other one. See, I had the whole 1/2 shell in there. Now,
what do you do? What would happen if you actually get a shell in there?
Well, you just fish it out using, they say it's best to wet your fingertip with a little bit of water, or use a fork or other utensil to get the yolk out, or the eggshell out. And so now it calls for 2 eggs scrambled.
And in the past, you've put the eggs in a different container. This time, you just put them right into the bowl. Is that because you use the eggs first?
Correct. Because you always want to be able to watch your eggs as they go into the container. And now we have 2 1/4 cups of buttermilk. You combine that with the eggs. I'm just going to run that out just a little bit. And then it calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So it's 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then you just give that a good stir, and then get your stove ready, and you're going to have some awesome pancakes momentarily. So you take the wet ingredients and you're going to pour them into the dry ingredients. And just mix them in as you go. All right. So just mix it in so you get all the little pockets of dry batter. mixed in. Dahlia's waiting for me to drop batter on the floor so she can lick it up. Yeah. And the other thing I neglected to add in the liquid portion of the batter is the melted butter. I had to melt it on the stove because our microwave decided to quit on us. So you whisk it gently into the liquid ingredients. However, I'm doing it at this stage, so I'm just whisking it in gently. So it calls for 4 tablespoons of butter melted and then cooled.
Will that affect the recipe anyway, putting the butter in late? Or just...
No. You're supposed to mix all the liquid and then add it to all the dry. So that's that. And then what I do to make pancakes is I get a ladle. This is a little bit neater way of making pancakes. So just take a scoop of batter and put it on the griddle and try to make a circle as you lay it down. That'll help kind of control it spreading too much.
What kind of heat do you have on that?
Medium. I prefer a medium heat because it helps the pancakes set up so the insides can cook before the bottoms get too brown. Some people make the error of cooking things too high so they're burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. I think they taste better fully cooked, so I cook it slower. And this is my favorite spatula for pancakes because it's thin, so you can get up underneath them, and it has a longer surface area. And it somehow had a mishap in the dishwasher a while back where it got caught in the door, so it kind of got a little bent backwards, but it's gradually regaining its shape now that it's free of its entrapment.
So you can just make these pancakes by simply using the stuff you already got in your pantry?
Yep. As long as you have a well-stocked pantry with flour and baking soda and baking powder, vanilla, all the stuff you would make cookies with. And of course, I keep fresh buttermilk in the fridge along with butter, and regular milk are things we always keep on hand so you can make most things. And there's always additives and chemicals in pancake mix. So even though it's your good pancake mix, sometimes, I don't know, I prefer making things from scratch. They taste better. So anyway, I'm just peeking to see if the pancakes are setting up yet. Not yet. They're getting lightly golden. So you want to get them maybe kind of a honey colored brown before you flip them over. And the edges will kind of dry up and you'll see a lot more bubbles. And the top part of the pancakes will start to set. So, and if you would like to add anything like berries, the best thing to do is to add them after you've poured the batter on the stove, because if you add them to the batter, you'll end up with purple batter, and the blueberries won't really stand out because it tends to color the whole batter. So I usually just spread them out evenly. It's not an exact science.
So these are like any kind of berries, like chocolate chips, you add them as they're cooking.
Yeah, the recipe suggests mixing them in. However, I think it works better this way. And so if somebody in your household prefers plain pancakes, some would like berries, you can make both in the same batch. And these are ready to flip over. This one got a little done because this is the color you're looking for with your pancakes. Flip them over. And then this, flip it over after you add in the blueberries and they sink in a little bit. So I find that adding the toppings to the batter as it's cooking works better than mixing it into the batter. Because if you were to mix blueberries in, it becomes a very weird shade of kind of a slate blue purple color, and it just doesn't have the same appeal, or I don't know, visual appeal as having a nice clean looking pancake with the blueberries added on it. And you can always do this with any fruit, so like frozen fruit.
Like strawberries, bananas.
Strawberries, I've done it with strawberries
walnuts.
Like we've done with our scone recipe, you can even use chopped up frozen peaches. Because I think any frozen fruit would taste good. And you could probably even do it with fresh. But oftentimes when we have berries that are starting to go soft, once they're clean, I'll make sure that I freeze them in a single layer. And then that way they're available for smoothies or any other things you want to make with them. So let me get a plate to put those on. And that's dinner, just a regular old dinner plate. And this side of my burner always cooks faster. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. So these are done. See, look how nice they look. And then while we're waiting for the blueberry pancakes to cook, we'll add another scoop of dough to make another round of pancakes. And if for any reason you find your batter is too thick, or you want a thinner pancake for any reason, just add a little bit more milk or buttermilk to the batter to thin it out.
So what would you do for those who are like on like a special diet, like a keto or gluten?
Well, generally people who have a keto diet avoid carbs. So
that wouldn't be good for them anyway.
Right. So, but there are like almond flour that people who are keto, who follow the keto pattern of eating, would use. And then rice flour or something of the sort for people who are gluten sensitive. It just depends upon whatever flour you would use normally in your diet. You could adapt it for making pancakes. But generally people who are keto don't really go for the carbs and the carb type items. So they probably wouldn't really have pancakes anyway. Unless they would make them just out of eggs or something. So.
Well, that's my fault. I've heard about a keto diet. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, they eat mostly protein, so.
Mostly protein, and my sister follows the keto plan because carbs make her stomach sick. So she uses almond flour in the foods that she makes. So I can ask her if she makes pancakes with the almond flour. I guess you could. The composition might be a little different because of the way different chemicals react in the gluten and the flour. I don't know. Something you would have to do a little research on to see how it would all play out. So these are done. So if you have two done at the same time, I just sometimes piggyback them and then put them on the plate.
I noticed they're cooking a little faster.
Now that the stove is more warmed up, and then here, just add in another batch of pancakes. So for some reason, this side of the burner always cooks a little faster.
I like the little twirl you do with the ladle.
It kind of helps make rounder pancakes because if you just let the batter free fall, it's going to try to form the shape of the griddle if it slides over to the corner, and that kind of helps set the batter as it's starting to firm up. So just a little thing that I've discovered. So the blueberry ones are going to take a little longer to cook because the frozen berries cool down the batter, so that kind of takes a little bit longer to cook. So that's why those take a little bit longer than the ones without the fruit adding into it. And sometimes I just pat them so any of the wet batter comes out and can cook faster.
How many pancakes do you get out of one?
This makes probably about 15, 16 pancakes, which is plenty for us. We're a family of 5, so that's generally enough. And then you could fix them with some sausage or something meaty on the side. Some people like eggs. But for now, I'm just making the pancakes to show you how easy it is to make scratch pancakes. And that's pretty much one of our favorite homemade pancakes. I don't even buy pancake mix anymore because I have all the basics for baking. So you just have your buttermilk like I use for my banana bread. That makes great pancakes and also a great marinade for chicken too. So anyway, if you're enjoying this recipe, please like and subscribe. And please give me your feedback because I love hearing from you. And any ideas or questions about this recipe, we'll try to put a link to it in the description when we prepare this video for you guys. But again, we hope you have had a fantastic New Year's holiday and Christmas holidays and Hanukkah, whichever holidays you celebrate this time of year. So as I whip up these last few pancakes, you can give me your feedback and let me know how these pancake recipe worked for you and what fruit add-ins you decided to try. As for me, I'm going to add in more blueberries because I love blueberry pancakes. So we'll get this one set and then we'll have someone give you a taste test so you can see how they taste. So Tyler, would you like to try the pancakes?
Yeah, Tyler!
Tyler can do a guest appearance on this. Just grab a plate and...
Tyler has a couple of his own YouTube channels, don't you, Tyler?
Yes.
Get a little more in the... Because you're not in this... So,
There.
what are your channels?
The Relyt953 Universe, which I don't really use anymore. And
That was your gaming channel, right?
It was. I focused my attention onto another channel, which
I will put in the description below, yeah.
Okay.
And that is?
Well, you have to go to that link.
He loves to compose music too, so he does a lot of the music for
Our channels.
our channel and other projects that they're currently working on. So what do you think, Tyler? You like the pancakes?
Well, they're great. Although I just came out here for to get more coffee.
You got pancakes.
These are awesome.
Okay. Alright. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you enjoyed these pancakes as much as we do, and Tyler did. So anyway, like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.